So welcome to Satsang. As you know, if you have any questions, please feel free to address them by speaking them or writing them in the chat box. And if you are on YouTube, you can write your question in the chat box and Tara will bring it to my attention. So namaste and welcome to Satsang. So before I proceed, just wanted to go over a question that was sent last time that I did not get to it. It was from Sisi. I'm not sure if you're watching, but the question is, hi Magdi. My question is about using substances on the spiritual path. I think we had a question like that a couple of weeks ago. A friend is trying to convince me to try ayahuasca, but I don't feel inclined. My understanding is that experiences belong to the realm of change and that they are mind stuff. It doesn't make sense for me to pursue more mind stuff. It is not even logical because it is ever changing. Doesn't happiness and the self refer to the eternal not changing? Yes. So why would I pursue anything else? Good question. What could you say? Thank you for being available for my question, Sissy. Well, you seem to have said it very clearly yourself. So somebody is trying to convince you to try ayahuasca, but you don't feel inclined. I think it's important that you follow your inner feeling about things like that. There are infinite ways to catch a glimpse of our true nature, which is not at the mind level, not in the realm of the mind. You could be just looking at the sky, looking at the night sky, or just contemplating nature. And in that contemplation, there is a stillness, a wholeness, oneness that is revealed to you. And as we know, oftentimes the mind will grab hold of this experience and will want to repeat it, will turn it into an object that it must have or it must repeat, while the experience itself is at the no-mind level, meaning it's a glimpse in the transparency of being, in the wholeness of being, where the mind was not present. The mind will come back to turn it into an object. It separates itself as an experiencer and as an experienced, and it will objectify an experience and will seek to pursue it and recapture it and reattain it. Now, with substances, that they have an effect on the body and on the mind, meaning the brain, the activities of the brain and the activities of the body. And you can, via certain substances, experience certain perceptions, certain visions that are not your common, not your standard perception. The standard perception is that of a separate perceiver, an internal perceiver, and an external world. You can get some experiences of wholeness, some experiences of a perception that is way beyond your normal realm of experiences, where you can realize that the boundaries of your mind are not solid boundaries, that in fact there is way beyond that. But similar to looking at the night sky and having an experience that is outside of the mind, the tendency of the mind to objectify this experience. And the subject remains, this personal self remains. And now there is a new experience in your catalog that you are interested in and that you are pursuing. And you can get an actual glimpse in the wholeness of being. But now you have the substance to deal with. It's still there. The fact of the substance, the fact that there was a means, a physical means, a phenomenal means, whether it is ayahuasca, LSD, or whatever it is, you still have that to deal with. And if you do not have a realized guide to guide you, you will find yourself in muddy waters, I would say, since you are asking this question right here, it means that you are already familiar with the Dharma. And if you are familiar with the Dharma, you already have all that you need to awaken. You do not need anything else. If you have been introduced to the Dharma and you choose the path of ayahuasca or any other substance, let's say you are not taking the direct path. I would not recommend it. Presence is available to you as your very being. Meaning, when you contemplate directly your experience in this very moment, you will come upon the stillness, the wholeness, the indivisible, aware presence that perceives this perception. It is directly available to you. You need to just keep returning to that without polluting this direct availability with the use of any substance. There is already enough messiness at the mind level. You don't need to add to it. You need to understand that the self is directly available to itself 24/7. And when you objectify yourself, you are objectifying reality. And you are creating an unnecessary duality between you and truth, you and reality. You need to understand that while the mind has a tendency to perceive objectively, meaning by objectifying, reality is non-objective, non-phenomenal. And any objective means that you will have to extricate yourself from their use. So I repeat, if you've been introduced to the Dharma and you choose another path, that's pretty sad, and I don't encourage it. Yes, happiness and the self refer to the eternal, non-changing. And that is not an idea, it's not a concept. If you look directly in your experience and you contemplate what is the reality of your experience, what is it that is true, that is real, that is eternal, that is unchanging in your experience, you will come to the self, you will come to the formless awareness, the non-phenomenal reality of being, the Sat-Chit-Ananda. You will come upon that because it is what perceives, it is the reality of being. John, you are signed in twice. You need to, okay, we got that. Now, you may be sometimes feeling a little frustrated with your practice, with your journey, with your inquiry. And you may be tempted to look in a different direction. So when you are feeling frustrated, I don't know that you are, but just being theoretical about it, then it's helpful to contemplate the process that's occurring at that moment of frustration. Because frustration and expectation are connected to a separate self, that you are still objectifying yourself. You are still defining yourself as a person. Whenever you define yourself as a person and you operate from that principle, you will only experience confusion and unhappiness and sorrow. You need to pay attention whenever you're objectifying yourself or whenever you are imagining yourself to be a bundle of images or some body. You need to contemplate that, because reality is not a body, is not somebody. Truth is not somebody, it's not a bundle of images. And it is undeniable. The reality of your experience is undeniable as presence, as beingness. So rely on the Dharma, I would say. Rely on the Dharma and keep inquiring, deepen your inquiry into what am I truly? What is the reality of being? Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, John.
Hi. Sorry for the confusion earlier. I couldn't get on the one electronic, so I went on the other, and
Okay.
somehow it wasn't working. Today I was, I think, in that place of just confusion, and the mind was really going and spinning, and I saw that. Um, but there were thoughts that I had to somehow control that, or I didn't like that. Of course, this is what you're calling the personal self coming in, the mind, and so I'm now wanting to control that, control the mind, and force things to change. Where's my spirituality and all that kind of stuff. But it's interesting that I intuitively knew that it's the mind, and to like basically ignore it. Yet at the same time, there was a great frustration that I couldn't seem to get anywhere. And so I just let it go and continue to do things. And then I realized Magdi was on at 5 o'clock. And I thought, well, there's grace, and basically the what am I truly is certainly something that if I can think of that, sometimes is really somewhere I can go. Because I was going to ask you, the question would have been, sometimes when I'm there, the mind has really imprisoned me. And I guess not completely, because there was the intuitive knowing that it wasn't all true. But I was going to ask, what do I do at that time? But you said to contemplate, who am I truly? And I think that's the answer. Is that okay, or can you tell me any more on?
So sometimes the I thought arises, the me. And whenever the I thought arises, there is going to be some sort of unhappiness, some sort of confusion. They go hand in hand. I think I have to. Hello, Pradeep. Yes, namaste. Whenever the I thought arises, that's the unhappiness, yes? And you say that I notice it. So I notice the thoughts about whatever, me, my practice, yesterday, tomorrow, whatever. And at the moment of noticing, at that moment there is awareness. Yes, there is awareness without the me. There's just awareness that is aware of itself, and it's also aware of the panorama, the scenery, the thoughts and the feelings. Yes, that awareness is not the me. It's not. It's just. It has nothing to do with what it is perceiving. It is just perceiving. And there is a knowing that I'm perceiving. There is a knowingness that I'm aware of what's happening. I'm aware of the unhappiness. I'm aware of the thoughts. I'm aware of the feelings. The next thing that often happens is that, okay, let me fix it. Okay, now, so I'm perceiving the weather, and I say, okay, I perceive a storm, and there is, let me fix it. Let me turn it into a beautiful sunny day. Yes? And of course, it's going to be very frustrating because what's happening is a storm at the mind level, at the weather level. What's happening is a storm. And when I say, well, let me change that, it's very immediately there is a frustration, because what is the storm as an image. Yes. And now it's being contrasted with it should be something else. That's sometimes what happens, is that there is awareness of the image, the scene, the weather, and then there is, let me change it. It's important to understand, John, that awakening has nothing to do with the weather. It is not about a happy experience. It's not about a nice body, happy body. It's not about a happy life. It's not about that. Although the consequences will be that life will become more magical, more easy, more flow, more of itself. It is not about that. Yes? Because there could be a body that has a serious asthma, or it could be a body that has a certain condition, or it could be a certain situation where somehow you live in a country that is completely crazy politically and economically and socially. It could be, you see, it could be. So it's not about that. Yeah? Awakening is about the realization, the revelation of the reality, what is real. And what is real is awareness. It has no name. It's not called John or Magdi, or it has no age. It has no gender. It's undeniable, completely 100% undeniable. But it has no form, no shape. It's not in the realm of the weather. It's not in the realm of experiences. It is in the realm of reality. There is only one reality, one realm, which is, we call it reality. There's only reality. Yes? There cannot be two realities, or one relative and one less, more relative, one less relative. So whenever in your experience you are experiencing a certain turmoil in the thinking and in the body, the feeling, invite it all to have its complete freedom. Don't try to recollect some of the scriptures you read about how you should be what you should experience, or how it should be, or how it could be. You see, no, don't worry about that, about how it should or it could be. Simply be in the complete welcoming, complete stillness, complete openness, complete not knowing. The not knowing is free from the limitations of knowing. It's understanding, and is a not knowing. It is not a knowing. It is a not knowing. So be open to the not knowing, and the complete surrender, your complete dying into the not knowing. Because the not knowing is formless, borderless, freedom, unborn, unmanifest. And what you are is that reality. You are that transparency, that beingness, the reality of being, and not any experience, happy or unhappy, because experiences are in the realm of time and space, but you are not. The limitations of time and space apply to experiences, but they do not apply to you. As long as you are contemplating the truth, the grip of the identity, the grip of the identification with the person and with the experiences and wishing it was otherwise and regretting and hoping, that grip weakens with your contemplation of the reality of what is true. Truth is one. It cannot be more true on Tuesday, less true on Wednesday. Its truth is absolute. Reality is absolute. Meaning, it is completely free of any conditions. It has no conditions that apply to it. And the reality of consciousness is undeniable, yes?
Yes.
And the consciousness is what we refer to as I. When we say I, we are referring to the invisible self, to the non-phenomenal reality. So it's I. I, it means reality, truth. I. And what you are looking for is what I is. You are looking for I, but and you are I. You are I. And so the confusing yourself with feelings and emotions and thoughts takes you on a tangent away from the I. And now you need to fix. You become a repair person, a repairman.
Yeah.
You are trying to fix the weather. You see. So recognize the I, the consciousness, which is recognizing itself. I recognize myself. I know I am. Yes, I know I am. I know I am aware. So I knows I. Inherent to I is self-knowingness. See, that's what's beautiful. It's inherent to the I. So you don't need to do anything because it's already inherent. The water doesn't need to do anything to be H2O. It's inherent to the water. The H2O is inherent to the water. Inherent to I is self-knowingness. So but we move to the sensation. We say, oh, he, she, I, tomorrow, yesterday. And when we do that, then we are more interested in the experiences and in fixing experiences, in seeking experiences, etc. But it is unhappy. It's unhappy because we are trying to change the weather and it's impossible, right? It's an imaginary task that we set to ourselves. We don't. That is not needed, and it's fiction, complete fiction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the
Yes,
truth,
you know, Meg.
yeah. I'm sorry,
I'm
John.
sorry.
Yes.
You know, that's where I was trying to say too that there was an intuitive knowing, which is I hear self being repeated. I don't know if it's on your side or not, but um, there was an intuitive knowing, or maybe the better way of saying that was awareness was aware of itself in the sense of the self knowing.
Yes.
So that was there, and that's really the grace for me.
Yes. Good.
And yet there was still a me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think what was happening for me, and this is all on the mind, all on the experiential level, and all wanting something, of course, rather than reality in a sense, the one reality. But I've experienced, could say, or know this sort of peace or stillness while the storm is going on. And I think in some ways, the me starts coming and saying, that's not happening now. And I need to find a center, the eye of the storm, as if I have to go somewhere to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so
Right.
everything you're saying is true. And
Yeah.
everything that I know now through the inquiry was really happening. But I
Yes.
think that's basically it. Is I
Right.
think I'm going to find some kind of peace and stillness that's missing
Yes.
somewhere.
Right. Because at the thought level, the stillness or the silence or the peace of the self is a concept, is an object. So at the
Yes,
thought
yeah,
level, it's something that we need to look for, we need to find, we need to seek, we need to listen. But that's a concept. The
yeah,
reality of the stillness, the reality of peace, the reality of the silence is not concept. It's not a
yeah.
concept. And if it's not a concept, that means it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's real, then there's one reality, and that's the reality of awareness. So awareness is stillness, awareness is peace, awareness is silence, by itself. But the mind, when the mind says, "Well, let me see if I got that," so the mind will project an image, will create an image, to project colors and shapes and words and sounds, and it will say, "Oh, well, so that's what silence and stillness is," right?
Mm-hmm.
To create an image,
Mm-hmm.
and then it keeps changing the image, because then it sees, it gets another experience something else. It creates another image. So it's constantly changing images.
Yeah.
So the conceptualization of reality is not reality. The conceptualization of stillness and silence, or awareness, or the self, is not the reality of it. So the mind can only operate in the realm of images. But consciousness is the master of the mind, meaning there is a higher order than the mind, than thoughts and perceptions and ideas and concepts. And that higher order is the reality of awareness consciousness. And in this very moment, this reality is. And in every moment, this reality is. In fact, it is completely free of moments. It is. But I am saying in this moment, this reality is to bring your attention at reality that in this moment perceives this perception, which we refer to as awareness consciousness. It has no name, but we refer to it as I. It has no age, but we refer to it as I. It has no form, no phenomenon, qualities whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mind will try to squeeze its way into the conversation to say, okay, listen to what I've got for you. You see? And then
Exactly.
as soon as you turn your attention, you say, what do you have for me? It's already got you. It already got you.
Oh, goodness. That's funny. Yeah, exactly. And I do notice it. So, I mean,
Yes, good. You notice it?
that's,
Noticing
yes.
is not mind. Noticing is
Yes.
awareness.
Yes.
Awareness notices. It is the light.
Yeah.
The light has within it awareness. So it's a aware presence. It notices. It senses. But it's not
So,
trying to do anything. It's not in the doing realm. The doing realm, to do is subject and object.
yes. Yeah.
But in your experience, the subject, when you look at the subject, you find a separate self as images and thoughts. But you find the true subject as awareness. And when you find the true subject as awareness, you will realize that all objects are just I think Rupert uses the word modulations. They're modulations of awareness. But
Sure.
in fact, if you even go even more intimate with awareness, you will find that there are no objects. It's just awareness.
Yeah.
So the mind will often try to lure you into its chambers,
Yeah.
with the feelings, especially, with the feelings.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's what, in a way, wanted to be changed was the idea that you shouldn't feel this way. And you shouldn't think this way. You shouldn't be confused, and you shouldn't
Right.
feel it. So it's just playing. It's just doing a dual
Yes,
sword fight.
absolutely. And if
I
you
mean,
look
it's
at
crazy. It's insanity.
yes, and when you look at the feeling, you really look really closely at the feeling, because we usually stand apart from the feeling. We say, I am feeling that. I am feeling happy. I am feeling angry. I am feeling. We separate ourselves from the feeling. But when you look at the feeling closely, without separating yourself, without saying, "Oh, I am feeling this. Why should I be feeling that? I thought I am beyond this feeling, and I'm feeling it again, and it's because my neighbor." So that's what we usually do with the feeling. Let me see how I can fix the feeling. We stand apart from the feeling. But when you don't stand apart from the feeling, when you go completely to the feeling, you get closer and closer, closer and closer, closer and closer. At some point, you find that there are all sorts of resistances to get closer. But these resistances are just thoughts and sensations. So you continue to get closer. It's a silent process. It's an inward process of getting completely close to the feeling without thinking about it. Just to go to the wholeness of the feeling, to the completeness of the feeling, as if like you want to be 100% the feeling. Every cell of your body, of your mind, of your being, of the whole universe is the feeling. You're just going completely to it. Then you'd be very surprised, because you will find that there is, maybe you will find a vibration or an energetics. And at some point, you will not even find that. You will just find presence without any words, without any names, without any subject, without any object. So when we objectify the feeling, we are stepping away from it. And it's all illusion. It maintains the sense of separation. Instead of thinking about the feeling or objectifying the feeling, die into it. And in this dying, you awaken to the reality of the feeling, which is the reality of consciousness, which is beyond the feeling itself. You see.
It's almost an emptiness. Well, there is, in my own experiences, by allowing it to be, nothing solid stays, and it
Yes.
always is empty. It's always really empty.
Yes, it's empty.
It's transparent.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
But the mind can't remember that sometimes.
It's not about the mind, you know. It's not about
I
the
know.
Yes.
I'm hearing you. I'm listening.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's all good. I'm hearing what you're saying. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, John.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay. So any questions?
Magdi?
Hello, Zoe.
Hi. So more of a comment than a question, but I was re-listening to that satsang where Esther asked the question of, that phrase, "I am not the doer," and how you broke it down just really hit me. That, and you just mentioned requires a subject and an object. For there to be any doing, and also time, which is non-existent. And it just, in your conversation with John right now, it just made it so clear. It's like the mind rushes out and claims absolutely everything, and everything is completely given in every moment, and then the mind rushes in and says, no, it should be this way or that way, when it's all where does the mind come from? It just comes from, the mind is proof of the underlying reality. And I don't know, it clicked in right now when I was listening to you. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, in ignorance, the mind is always referring to a subject, a separate subject, and a separate object. It always refers to a person that is somehow has objectified and is not inquiring into that. It starts in ignorance. The mind starts with the assumption that there is a personal self. There is consciousness is personal, connected to the body, and all experiences refer to this person. They are personal experiences. And it maintains this model via the I thought, via the thought that I am a person, I am this man, I am this woman, I am this person. And it utilizes the energetics in the body, the somatic aspect of the body to solidify its position of personal experiences via the feelings, so the phenomenal realm, thoughts and events will trigger some feelings in the body, and that will be evidence that all what is happening is personal.
And like you said, solidify as I do this, as this contemplation just keeps washing through me, you know, it's like, what's the reality? Well, you know, without the images attached to the senses, the body isn't so solid. It's just,
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. The entire, in ignorance, the body experience is solid because it is unexamined.
Yeah.
But as soon as you examine it, you will find that you will find thoughts and sensations. And that's what the body is, thoughts, sensations, and perceptions. And when you examine even further, you will find just awareness. And you will find just the universal body. You will find that the body goes from being this physical, limited body to being the entire cosmos.
Yeah, those expanding the awareness meditations are really making a difference in daily life for me. You know, it's almost like I'm watching go through things, and sometimes it seems as if well, I don't know, like the body just reacts in a certain way, I guess a conditioned pattern, but I'm observing it, not.
Yes.
Yeah.
The body is a reactive organism, active and reactive organism. So like when you stub your toe in the corner of the chair, the body will react, will express something.
Okay.
So at the body-mind level, at that realm, there are all sorts of actions and reactions and conditions. But you are not the body. You are not. Nothing is happening to you.
Yeah.
Whatever is happening to the body is happening to the body, and as consciousness, you observe that, you notice that, and once you realize your true nature, you are free of that. But in ignorance, we are not free of that. We experience that this is happening to me, and so we're suffering the fate of the body and the fate of the mind. And there's a lot of despair in that, because we know that the body is bound to get more and more complicated situations in our life, are bound to failure and success or whatever, the whole thing, sunny day, rainy day. One day everything is good, next day everything is gone. At the body-mind level, when we have some ignorance and identification, we experience that's what's happening to us. And so we're experiencing the emotions that we refer to as a personal self. We're experiencing the contractions in the somatic realm. And these contractions, when we're not contemplating the Dharma, they solidify more and more the body-mind. And this is why you notice in ignorance, when the body ages, it becomes more and more rigid, more and more, and the mind becomes more and more rigid. And you see on the face the traces of time. But for a sage, they become happier and happier.
Yeah. Yippee!
So that's a good advertisement for awakening, you know.
Thank you, Magdi.
You see, when we are contemplating our experience, at some point we realize that everything is unfolding in the waking state like it's unfolding in a night dream. And the night dream itself becomes a sort of absence, where there are, one could say, images, but there is nothing happening. And the nothing happening, in that somehow we have more of a feeling of it in the night dreams, become even transferred to the waking state. There is really nothing happening. Both the night dreams and the day dreams, the waking dreams, this waking experience, become sort of an absence. And as if you are in deep sleep, the peace of deep sleep, and you are not, you're untouched. Not that you're aloof, no, you're just untouched. Being aloof is like you are touched, but you are somehow ignoring it or something like that. It's not truly being untouched. Yeah. So just a reminder that the Costa Rica retreat is from the 27th, so it starts next Saturday. Is it? Yeah, I think so. To November 1st. It's a 6-day retreat. And yes, so this would be our last gathering online before sometimes in the first week of November when we come back. And of course, there's still room in the retreat, and you're welcome to attend it. Any questions? Hello, Maria. You're right. Would you recommend concentrating on concentration or breath practices to quiet the mind so that contemplation and inquiry could take place more easily? Yes. If you find that there is too much mind, meaning there is mind that is preventing you from contemplating the self, from contemplating the stillness, the reality of being. It is helpful to do some meditation practices to quiet the mind. So it's a good idea to sit quietly, comfortably, without slouching, because the body will have a tendency to sort of get relaxed and fall asleep, and that's not the intent. The intent, of course, if you're sleepy, then of course go lie down and go to sleep. But to sit, comfortably without slouching, and to just simply be. You can observe the breath, but soon enough observing the breath will shift into, you could say, being breathing, or just being, noticing. So it's noticing without intention, yes? So there is no intention. It's just you're sitting. And if to give yourself a good, I would say 15 minutes plus, because it takes a little while for this process. And you can do that a few times during the day, or a couple of times during the day, as you wish, as you can. And there will be some transformation in that. There will be more quietening happening at that moment. And of course, you will start notice some activities. And noticing there is a purity to noticing when there isn't a personal intention. It's a sort of listening, not knowing, an open listening. That has no subject and no object. It has no direction. It's sort of an openness. And within this openness, there is a freedom. I would not recommend concentration. Because in concentration, there is a subject and an object. There is too much doing in concentration. While being breathing, or just pure sitting, in Japanese they refer to it as chikantaza, just sitting. It's not a doing. It may appear as a doing from the outside, but it is a non-doing. It's not a doing. It's more of a being, resting as being. And as you start doing this couple of times during the day, it will eventually start to permeate the space throughout your day, or it may arise on various occasions during the day unexpectedly. This being, not knowing quality that you will experience in your meditation. I wouldn't do too much trying. Actually, I wouldn't do any trying. I would but experience and find the joy in it, the love in it. Maria, you're right. Would you say body scanning a concentration practice? When you are scanning the body, you may come upon initially the more obvious places in the body where the contractions reside. And you hang out there, you don't think about what you're experiencing, what you're perceiving, but you get closer and closer to whatever you are noticing in the body, without naming it and without labeling it, inviting it, inviting what you're perceiving, what you're experiencing in the body, into the space of awareness. But I would not call that a concentration, no. That sort of scanning, I would not call it concentration. But if you are scanning with a certain energetic, a certain purpose, a certain drive, I wouldn't encourage that. It has to be loving and sweet and free and happy. You also write, Maria, in yoga circles, there is a lot of talk about intention, setting an intention for the practice. This feels like strengthening the body-mind who is setting the intention. You can set an intention, yes, intention, as long as your intention is universal, impersonal, not a personal intention. So the intention is for universal awakening, for universal happiness. It's beautiful, yes. So I have that intention. I don't think about it, but I guess it's living itself through me. The intention of universal awakening, just very lovely intention for happiness and peace. So if the intention is has that quality of universality and love and beauty in it, it's okay, Maria. Yeah, sure. The intention, you said the intention to surrender, question mark. Yeah. So the intention, the surrender, is a good intention as long as it includes surrendering the surrenderer, and not just surrendering and keeping the surrenderer. You have to include in your surrendering the surrenderer. So yes, your intention is to surrender, and but you're surrendering the surrenderer, so who is surrendering? You follow? If you're surrendering the surrenderer, then it's a surrendering without a surrenderer, which brings us to no surrenderer, no separate entity. So it all comes together in the end, whichever way you word it. It comes to an interest in truth, an interest in living truth and contemplating truth, which is universal love. I think the main problem with all these intentions is the personal aspect of it. I'm not saying that that's what you are saying. I'm just speaking generally. Intention with a personal aspect to it, a personal dimension. I would be watchful of that. Maria, you're right. Surrendering the surrenderer. There is then already surrendering, which is already universal truth. Yes. Yes. When the surrenderer is surrendered, then in a way you're on the other side of surrendering. Surrendering without a surrenderer. Yeah, you could say that consciousness is surrendered or is surrendering without a surrenderer. You could say that. And knowing yourself as that, to know yourself as that is surrendered without any surrendering, without any surrenderer. To know yourself as that. Okay. Okay, Maria. Well, see you in a few days, huh? Oh, Shiva, you said there was a problem with the sound. I'm sorry. Is anybody having a problem with the sound? Shiva just wrote that he was having a problem with the sound. Is it better now, Shiva, or? Okay, Maria, can you hear me?
It's been coming in and out on my iPad.
Oh.
I don't know if that's like it glitches, like your voice extends for a while and then it comes back. I don't know if that's what Shiva was talking.
Oh. Did anybody else besides Zoe was experiencing the sound on and off?
A little bit. It's not too bad.
Okay, Esther.
Yeah, I didn't really miss much.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what. I don't know if I should look at the settings, but let's see. Oh. Okay. Okay. Sound, let me see. Input volume, sure. Is it better now, Shiva? Okay, I just increased the output volume and input volume is fine. The external mic port, okay. Makes these weird poking sounds. Oh. What about now? Is it better now, Shiva? I'm wondering if the earphones were
Maggie, that's a lot clearer to me.
Oh. Okay. So it could be it might be a problem with the earphones then. Well, sorry about that. Okay. Hello, Shiva? Yeah. Sometimes also when the earphones they rub against the jacket, it makes a sound. Could be that too. Anyways. So any questions, anybody?
Hi, Matti.
Hello, Anne.
Hi. I have for quite a few years had quite a lot of illness, and it's been quite bad lately with my stomach. But what happens if, for instance, today, when I woke up, I think I must have had a strong glimpse, and I was very happy, felt very free and peaceful. I didn't really notice any illness very much, and it was hard to imagine that would change because it was so strong and good. And then as the days gone on, the pains come back and got quite intense. And as you were talking earlier about staying with sensations and going into that and through the resistance, because I was going to take a painkiller, I decided not to, and I decided to go with that process. And that helped quite a lot. But I just can't, I don't know if it's probably my mind, but I just can't help wondering why I get all this illness. So it's quite extreme at the moment, from feeling quite free and happy to quite contracted, quite intense.
Yes, yes. A couple of things. The body, what is happening at the body level, when we are identified with the body, we experience that it's happening to us.
Mm.
And in our contemplation, we start to awaken to our true nature. This does not mean that the body will stop ailing, depending. It depends. It will get relief, but depending on various things, the changes in the body will be more or less drastic. But the point that I'm making is that as you awaken to your true nature, the body doesn't necessarily heal magically. There may be conditions in the body that will continue, but they will improve.
Mm.
Now, why do we have the experience that we have with the body, with the world, with the situation, with our relationships, with our work, etc.? Every one of us has what is needed for us, what is required, what is given for us to, what is meant for us to awaken. It's given to us as part of our journey.
Mm.
The deeper we go away from consciousness, the deeper we go into the personal self, the tighter and tighter and the narrower and narrower and hotter will become the situations in our world, body, mind. And as we journey towards consciousness, as we start to contemplate the self, then more and more openness and light and joy and happiness and freedom will manifest in our world, body, mind. But whatever is given to us is meant for us. At this point, this is just what the doctor prescribed. This may not be what the mind wants, because the mind has its own story about what life is about, what truth is about, it has its own infected, polluted, and completely sick view about reality.
Mm.
It is reality as personal. It experiences the entire world as itself, and it experiences So it's experiencing from an erroneous perspective. Now, what's at the body level, of course, we need to manage the body the best we can. We are the managers of the body, via various healing modalities. Of course, the healing modalities that are the gentler and the one that are more holistic is are available to us, and we can look into how we can best be good friends of the body, be gentle with the body. But what's important to understand in the teaching is that it is not about the body. It is about awakening to your true nature. What's happening to the body is not happening to you. You are the witness of the body. You are the manager of the body. You are the keeper of the body, but you are not the body. Now, sometimes the way the personal self rebels in when it perceives itself being threatened, meaning when it's perceiving that its game is becoming thinner and thinner, it's about to get caught. It will try to reestablish its strength by making the body ailing, by proving to you that you are the body, by making the body even louder than it was before. That's one of the ways in which a separate self attempts to maintain itself and keep you on the hook in a way. There is an experience of the body irrespective of what's happening to the body. That is not swayed by what is happening with the body. And that is available to you as you become established in your self-knowingness, in the knowingness of your true nature, which is the path that you are on. As much as possible, relaxation around what's happening with your body, because sometimes the body becomes so expressive that we start worrying, and it drags us into the mind, it drags us into images, and then the body gets contracted around those images. Be watchful of that process. Explore the possibility of experiencing the body with, no matter what's happening, from a place that is interested but not identified. Because interested because you are the manager of this body, but not identified. Not, the heart not really concerned, not caring, but not affected. Not compromising your freedom because of the body. The freedom, your freedom, is not the freedom of the body.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's because sometimes I feel so free that what's going on in the body, whether it's pain or discomfort, it doesn't really matter at all. And then other times, like today, you know, you're saying it's important to stay relaxed. It is a test, really, of just staying relaxed and not panicking. Right. Because sometimes it's quite intense and it's hard not to panic.
It's important to tend to the body, do what is needed to soften the pain, do what is needed to bring certain less discomfort, to reduce the discomfort with the pain. But that's what we need to do with the body. And that's quite different from panicking, of course.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you. Have a nice retreat, everyone.
Thank you all. Very, very lovely. Very happy to be with you. And, thank you for your love and your friendship. And so we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Yes. Okay. Namaste.
Namaste.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.